Let's start this with a story, but imagine you are the protagonist of the story. Once upon a time, you live in a village. You had a plant, a fish, and a dog. One day, you notice that your plant is withering, and your fish and dog are sick. You decide to call your friend to help you take care of them. But after 1 week, they all died, including your friend. Now, if you want to know why they died, you will know it later, because my speech will be able to provide you ways to help save the environment and also save our natural sources. My name is Nemesis Bisibaten, a grade 11 student of Apex Coastal Fairway. I'm here to provide you the reasons why we should protect, conserve, and preserve our energy, water, soil sources, and reducing our waste. And also here to motivate you to take action in preserving, conserving, and protecting these sources. So without further ado, let's move on to our topic. Let's first talk about energy sources. Energy sources are used to produce electricity, and these are fossil fuels that burn of coal, oil, or natural gas, geothermal using the heat from the earth, hydropower using the flow of water, and many more. In the Philippines, we are mostly dependent on using fossil fuels compared to renewable energy sources like geothermal and hydropower. Furthermore, there are issues when using these energy sources. These are destruction of the environment, greenhouse gas emission, and pollution. Greenhouse gas emission causes air pollution, climate change, and global warming. And pollution pollutes the natural sources like soil sources and water sources. All of these things cause the destruction of the environment, which also causes the deaths of numerous animals and forces animals and people to relocate. So what should we do to preserve and help our environment? We must implement mitigation techniques. These mitigation techniques are reducing our electrical consumption by turning off things when not in use and using things that consume less electricity. Next, try to avoid using things that require fossil fuels like cars. Early in the morning, I drove my way to the nearest bakery. Why? Because I don't want to pay for the expensive jeepney fare and also want to have my body become physically fit. And for people who are working in power plants, they use various advanced technologies to properly monitor, regulate, and manage the facilities, the power plants, and the surrounding environments. This will greatly reduce accidents and pollution caused by spills, leakage, water runoff, greenhouse gas emission, and many more. So before we move on to our next topic, let's first have a glass of water, or a cup of water if you prefer. Refreshing, isn't it? In the Philippines, we have numerous water sources like streams, creeks, rivers, and more, which are used for different purposes like recreational activities. But due to natural factors and anthropogenic factors, this greatly reduces the water availability and quality. Natural factors are factors caused by our environment, and this can be the climate and geology. Climate can make it so if there is low rainfall and high temperature, there will be less water available. In addition to that, due to the structures of the rocks, it causes the surface fresh water to sink in underground, reducing the available surface water. For anthropogenic activities, which are activities caused by us or human activities, these are dumping of garbages, waste, spills, leaks, and many more, just like what you can see here. All of these things reduce the water availability and quality because it causes the water to be polluted, making it dangerous for us, the environment, and also to the animals. So what should we do to protect, conserve, and preserve our water sources? So what we should do is to reduce our water consumption and proper disposing of our garbages. This will allow more water to be stored for future use and reduces the garbages that ends up in water bodies. But even though we still do these things, it's still not enough. And this is where the Philippine government should step in. The Philippine government should prioritize in creating and implementing policies to help properly protect and manage the water resources to make sure that they are being protected, preserved, and conserved. Next, we should monitor and regulate to make sure that these water bodies are being protected, being conserved, and being preserved. To move on to our next topic, which is about soil sources, did you notice that there is less and less lands that can be seen, especially for people living in big cities? That is because those lands are being used for different purposes. In the Philippines, we have alienable lands which are agricultural lands and industrial lands which are used for industrial purposes and agricultural purposes, and non-alienable lands which are the forests. But just like water sources, there are also activities that reduces the soil quality and availability. These are the dumping of garbages, waste, chemicals, and excessive use of chemicals that are harmful to the soil. Just like what you can see here, which is full of garbages. But also in some rare cases, natural pollutants occurs which is caused by excessive concentration of minerals in the soil. This greatly reduces the soil quality and availability. Most of the agricultural lands are being converted for non-agricultural use. And because of this, this greatly reduces the available lands that can be used for planting of crops, homes for the animals, and many more. So how should we protect, conserve, and preserve our soil sources? So what should we do is to reduce our usage of, or reduce excessive usage of chemicals. This will reduce the chemicals that ends up in soil. Not only that, we should also plant trees and try to use other farming techniques. This will reduce soil erosion, which is one of the main factors that reduces soil availability and quality. And try to reduce our garbages by recycling things, just like what you can see here. This will greatly reduce the garbages that ends up in landfills that are buried in lands. And for our last topic, it will be about different types of waste. As we use different things, these things turn into waste, and they can be classified into solid waste, liquid waste, and gaseous waste. Solid waste in solid form, liquid waste in liquid form, and gaseous waste in gaseous form. But they can still be further classified into biodegradable waste, which are waste that only took short time to decompose. Examples of these are dead plants, dead woods, fruit peels, and many more. In contrast to these are non-biodegradable waste, which are waste that takes decades up to thousands of years before they decompose. Examples are plastics, ceramics, glass, and many more, just like what you can see. And lastly are hazardous waste. Hazardous waste contains properties that are dangerous to us, the environment, and also animals. Examples of these are batteries, chemicals, wastewater, and many more. All of these things cause the destruction of the environment, pollution, deaths of numerous animals, and many more. Not only that, it also causes some humans to develop diseases like asthma. That's why we have proper waste management system. And these are landfills, the burying of garbages in lands, commonly used in developing countries, incineration and combustion, which are the burning of garbages, which also produces gaseous waste, common in countries where landfill is not possible. And next is resource recovery, which is recovering resources from materials or using this waste to produce electricity. And next, which is my favorite, is recycling. Recycling things will greatly allow more waste to be used for more usable products or reduces the waste that ends up in landfills or incineration. And lastly are composting. Composting is burying of biodegradable waste in soil so that they can be used for foods for the plants. All of these things help us greatly manage our waste and reduces the pollution caused by our waste. But the best way to manage our waste are to reduce, reuse, and recycle, reducing our water consumption, reusing old things, and recycling waste. Energy sources are very important to us and other living things, and we use these sources to produce electricity, planting of crops, recreational activities, and many more. But due to increased demand for these sources, we are causing pollution, destruction of the environment, deaths of numerous animals, and many more. Remember the story I told you earlier? The reason why your fish, your plant, your dog, and even your best friend died is because of pollution and destruction of the environment. Millions of animals died due to pollution, whether it's water pollution, soil pollution, or any other kinds of pollution. Not only that, pollution is also one of the risk factors that causes premature deaths and diseases in humans. Imagine that due to the waste we produce, we are causing pollution, indirectly killing numerous animals and humans, but we still continue to cause pollution. That's why I give thanks for the people who are trying their best to help save the environment, spreading awareness of the consequences of our action, and implementing solutions to solve some of these problems. So before you leave, I want to remind you that small actions of yours of turning off the water tap, properly disposing your garbages, reducing electrical consumption greatly help save the environment. Thank you.